Now, Sochi's location may place it a little far for North American vacationers, but city officials do hope that the international exposure will have tourists from Russia and Europe flooding in. So Sochi must now confront life after the Olympics. After spending over $51 billion, the area is now home to more than 40,000 hotel rooms, 4 ski resorts, dozens of restaurants and retailers, 5 sports arenas, 1 stadium, and enough roads and railways to handle 20,000 visitors an hour. So was that massive price tag worth it? We're joined by Robert Boland, academic chair and clinical associate professor of sports management at New York University, for his perspective. Bob, thanks for joining us. Good to have you.
Thank you.
So the Sochi Olympics at $51 billion, the most expensive games, summer or winter to date. A little soon to tell, but off the cuff, worth it?
Well, the price is big, so it will be either a big success or a big miss. But it's still too early to tell, exactly as you say. The thing that Russia did effectively is they invested in infrastructure that can be used again and again and again, and that probably is the best thought about it.
And they do have a big Formula One competition coming up. They've got a big, the soccer is going to be played there as well. So is that the secret to the success, knowing that you have future events?
The 2 secrets of success of Olympic venues after the fact are, did you create enough memories and enough infrastructure to bring people back and back again with velocity? And the second thing is, did you invest in yourself to make yourself a desirable destination? And that's going to be the 2 questions that are tough for Sochi to answer right now.
Well, certainly hosting any sporting event, any massive sporting event like this one, does put the spotlight on that host city. And for Sochi, it wasn't always such a favorable light. We had terrorism concerns. We had a big situation with the gay rights issue. Has this overall, do you think, created a favorable or an unfavorable impression?
Well, I think the first thing when Olympics are over and that nothing bad has happened during them, you breathe a sigh of relief and call them a success in the modern context. So Sochi is a success on that level alone. Sochi got a lot of negative press in the lead up, both with the gay rights issue and then the readiness issue, but some of that's normal. So I think the real question will be, will visitors come back, and will there be a velocity of visitors out of the Caucasus, out of Iran, and out of Russia to come to this new winter sports destination by the Black Sea?
Well, it's a little inconveniently located, given that it's a 2-hour flight from Moscow, when they're saying that the locals that can afford to will probably go elsewhere. So what kind of tourists is Sochi hoping to attract?
Well, probably a well-heeled tourist out of that new emerging Near East area, and then also a budget-conscious Russian, probably, to think about it. As Russians are joining the middle class in quick numbers, they'd be a constant source of talent there.
Now, overall, we've discussed the Vancouver Games, Salt Lake City, Torino Games. They boosted tourism. Is it overall the game plan? Is it a successful idea?
Well, the games are so expensive that you can't really probably earn a profit from them. The U.S. venues for the summer games seem to do that. But nobody else really earns a profit in the game, so you really have to make it back on the successive events. Barcelona is the gold standard for that. We always talk about the Barcelona effect. So you're always looking at the successive uses that really pay off the games and make it worth your while.
Well, if Barcelona is the gold standard, then perhaps Greece is the F mark.
Right.
They overspent, and that, many say, helped push them into the economic disaster that they're in at the moment. And now we have Sweden pulling out of hosting future games. Do you think we're going to see a lot more countries reluctant to participate given the price tag?
Well, after a number of years in the 1970s and 60s, we saw the same thing. And Los Angeles was the only bidder for the 1984 Olympics. But Peter Ueberroth in Los Angeles so revitalized the Olympic movement, everybody became a bidder again. I think we're seeing a cycle where cities are pulling out. Some in the highly developed West are pulling out because of the cost factor. I think other cities, will, like Sochi, will come on board for the notoriety and the capability of doing things. Barcelona, interestingly enough, is a leading candidate for 2022 and the Winter Games.
So back to Barcelona, and hey, they've already got the infrastructure, so that's a good start. They may need to refurbish a little bit. So is the secret then for not as well-positioned cities to host? Like, for example, London was a top travel destination before the games anyway. That didn't really boost things. Is the trend going to be towards emerging economies and less publicized?
There's always been a benefit for emerging economies that are growing with higher increasing GDPs to be good people to write off the cost of the games and then to get the publicity from it. So emerging countries, emerging destinations have the best benefit, although we've also seen larger cities look to a reboot. So London got some reboot out of this, and so there's real advantage on both ends. And I don't think you'll see one or the other trend emerge fully.
All right, we're going to have to leave it there, but thank you so much. Robert Boland, professor of sports management at New York University.